Well, today's the 10th day of December. This is the Trade, Commerce, and Tourism Committee. My name is Tom LaBonge, and I'm honored to serve the city of Los Angeles. And my colleagues, Mr. Bonin and Mr. Buscaino, will not be here today. It's a committee of one. So we're going to go through these things. You're going to articulate your message. And if I like them, I'll send them on the way. If I don't like them, we'll hold them. Okay? So make it real simple. So let's go with item number one.
Under item 1, the Board of Harbor Commissioners submits for council approval the third amendment to an agreement with Tetra Tech. This is a contract for implementation of and administration of concessions and grants under the Clean Truck Program. The amendment would extend the contract by an additional 18 months, expiring in June 2015, so that in order that the concession agreement with truckers can respond to concerns of the U.S. Supreme Court.
Alvin Newman, CAO's office. This is the third amendment that was stated, and it will extend the service by 18 months to June 2015 to assist in the renewal of this Clean Truck Program concession agreement with truck operators.
Great. The CAO approves it.
CAO approves this request.
Thank you.
I love it.
Okay, well, yeah, but tell me your name. I know they say I love it.
Chris Cannon, Director of Environmental Management at the Port of Los Angeles.
Great. And just give us a 1 minute on this so the people can hear.
Basically what this is, we have a consultant that helps us with concession administration and management. It supports staff. The agreement for our concession agreements had to be extended a year. The termination of them had to be extended a year because we just recently had a court decision from a decision from the Supreme Court. So we're basically extending this contract to allow them to help us get new concession agreements in place a year from now.
But it is making a difference, the Clean Truck Program.
It is making a difference, yes, sir.
Right. I hike every day in Griffith Park, and if I look out over the city, I look down, in years past, you would see a constant pollution stripe, and it's less. It's not perfect, but
94% reduction in diesel particulate matter, and
I see that 6%, so we got to get rid of the 6%. I recommend approval to council.
We're working on it.
You got it. Next item.
Councilman, would you like to take all the foreign trade zone
All the
items?
trade zones.
This would be items 2, 4, 5, and 6. 2 are developer agreements, and 2 are operating agreements for different sites. Should I read each one?
No, you're okay. I got that okay. I just want to know, like the ones at Redlands, we'll ask the port of recommendation, but let me hear the CAO on all of them.
Alvin Newman, CAO's office. On all 4 of the FTZ operators and developer agreements, we recommend approval for all 4 of them.
All 4 are good for you. Yes.
Good morning. This is Masamori Moto, Port of Los Angeles FTZ 202 manager. We have 4 FTZ items, 2 developer agreement and 2 new operator agreements.
Very good. Thank you for all that you do and have continued to have so many years. I have a technical question. I see this company's in Redlands. Does anyone let the Redlands City Council, the Redlands Mayor know that this is happening? Because the Port of Los Angeles, and I don't know, is very important, but unless we tell people what we do, they don't know. And sometimes they think Los Angeles is a big, bad place. Well, Los Angeles is a good place. And this is a good thing that we do. So is that the executive director? This is executive order number 1 from the councilman of the committee. I don't know if that's legal to do, but make sure on all these things you send a letter to the mayor and the council of the town where the trade zone is. The Port of Los Angeles is happy to work with your city and your business at 19785-612 Foothill Boulevard in the city of Redlands. And we have a contact. If you have any more, we want to help there. We make sure that happens. I mean, go back and touch the political body, because I'm on the Southern California Association of Governments, and there's people from all over, every county in the South, but except San Diego. And sometimes they think LA's a big, bad place, but LA's a big, bad, good place.
Good morning, Councilman LaBonge. Gary Lee Moore, Interim Executive Director for the Port of Los Angeles. We'll absolutely, after this item is approved by full council, we will send the letters out.
To the mayor and the city council of whatever city it's in.
And maybe even the city managers.
Very good.
All right.
And maybe the city engineer, if you know. All right, thank you. All right. Approved on all those. Send those to council. That's 2 And
4, 5, and 6.
4, 5, and 6. Thank you. Thank you. Let's take item 3.
Sure. Under item 3, the Board of Harbor Commissioners submits for approval an agreement with the International Trade Education Programs Incorporated, which is a nonprofit organization that promotes maritime industry-oriented education and training in local high schools. And the Harbor Department would like to sponsor some of the activities for the current academic year.
Great.
Alvin Newman, CAO's office. This program is for the school year 2013-14, and funding is $400,000. It represents 53% of their operational costs as compared to 70% in 2009. And the goal of the program that has been going on since 1999 is to reduce dependency on port funding and seek to increase funding from corporations, foundations, and grant. And they actively do try to receive they do fundraising and try to get donations to support the program.
And you guys support it?
Yes, we recommend approval.
Yeah, Michael Hale with the Harbor Department. One thing Alvin didn't point out is that 54% of the students that have gone through the program that have responded to our surveys are continuing to work in the maritime or international trade areas. And another concern of the department was that they show some effectiveness in actually getting the kids into the desired careers that the program's working for.
And these are kids who are in the region of the Port of Los Angeles or just in Los Angeles?
There's 4 academies that we support at Wilmington High School. There's one up in Mojave, and the program actually supports 3 other academies.
Mojave, like up in the Mojave Desert?
There's a logistics base up in Mojave that the kids work with.
Good. Okay, here's another field trip for you. I want you to go to the school board, tell them what you're doing. They're over here at 333 South Beaudry. And take up Highway 14, go to Mojave. I don't know what's up there in Mojave. I haven't been there in 40 years. I'm kidding you. But find out. Tell these educators what you're doing. This is another good thing. I'm preaching on Tuesday because I don't preach on Sunday, but I'm preaching. We got to tell people what we do. Okay, Gary?
Yes, sir. Councilman
Okay.
Gary Lemore.
Because I want them to know about this collaboration, how tremendous the port is.
If you don't mind, Councilman, Amy Great, the executive director of this program, is here today, and I do want to acknowledge her. She
Amy, come on up and...
done an outstanding job
job.
on this program, and so, all right, Amy.
Good.
Thank you so much, Gary. We couldn't do it without the Port of LA and the support of the entire department, entire city. But we are up in Barstow, and they are extremely appreciative.
You're in Barstow?
We are working with...
But you live in Barstow?
No, no, I
Okay.
don't. I wish I did.
That's all
But
right.
ask her ask her about the Wilmington Chamber of Commerce.
Yes.
All right. No.
Well,
yeah, go ahead.
What aspect of the Wilmington? I mean, we had over 100 young people from
Right.
Banning High School
Right.
turn out this weekend for the Wilmington Chamber of Commerce, their holiday Heart of the Harbor Parade.
Oh, good.
And our program seeks to prepare students for careers in trade, transportation, and logistics, but we also want to make them great members of the community, so community
Absolutely.
service is very
I
important.
just think it's just, we got to tell, there's so much information now that's going on, the personal appearance by someone to say, thank you, do it, it's important, Gary.
Yeah, and
So-
Amy and Michael, we'll make sure that we make that happen, Council.
Got it, and tell the school board, this is important. And also for the record, I went to West Valley Occupation, and it's the year that Woodstock was happening, and I was in the print shop, and the other guy, all we talked about is Woodstock, but that West Valley Occupation was good for me, even though I never fulfilled the thought of being a printer. It transferred into other things. So you never know where everybody ends up, but you give them a good start, which is the key. Thank you.
Thank you for your help.
Approval. Next item.
Item 7, the Board of Harbor Commissioners submits for council approval the First Amendment to a contract with Microsoft Corporation. It's a sole source contract for premier support for Microsoft products and consulting services. The amendment would extend the term by 3 years for a total term of 6 years and would increase the contract amount by $1 million for a total contract amount of $1.5 million.
Alvin Newman, CAO's office. The software Microsoft is the sole source provider, as Christine has said, and they have proprietary software and technical support and maintenance for all technical equipment and software at the port. And they're requesting a 3-year contract for $1 million, and they currently are
$4 million a year?
$1 million for the 3 years.
Oh, total, okay.
They currently have a 3-year contract that's expiring in December the 31st. And so we recommend approval for this contract.
Got it. Can we get this to council before the end of the year?
Yes, we plan to have this on December 17th.
Got it. Mr. City.
Interim Executive Director Gary Lee Moore.
Yeah.
I think Alvin covered it perfectly.
Got
sir.
it. I approve it. Thanks. Next item. I have one public comment, but call number 8, please.
Under item 8, the Board of Harbor Commissioners submits for approval a lease with Rockefeller Philanthropy Advisors with a subsequent lease assignment to Alta Sea, a nonprofit public benefit corporation and this would be for development of an urban marine research center at City Dock Number 1 at the Port of Los Angeles.
That's okay. Okay, I'm going to do public comment first. We have one public comment card, Mr. Tom Williams.
Dr. Tom Williams, LA 32 Neighborhood Council and others. Basic issue. What are the berths for? We're going to be in competition with Panama Canal. We need to make sure that those berths move containers. Using Marine Institute vessels, fine. How many vessels will be berthed here? My concern is that do they need the berth frontage? Same way as to the Coastal Commission. Do you need the frontage for vessels, or is it just going to be for show? So I would highly recommend that you reconsider this. Maybe put it back a few hundred yards from the berth, unless they really need berth and or access to salt water for aquaria. So it seems to be more a matter as to PR rather than actual physical needs of berth and or seawater. Thank you.
Just a question, Doctor. Where did you go to school? Where did you go to school?
University of Kansas, Lawrence, Kansas. University of Kansas, Lawrence, Kansas for my master's. University of California, Berkeley, PhD in geology and zoology, and from 1967 through 76. I have a lot of experience.
Great experience, and that's what we want to try to create here. Thank you for your comment. I just wanted to know that. Can I have the staff here, please?
You wanted to start?
If I may, yeah. I'm Janice Sidley, General Counsel for the Port of Los Angeles. I just wanted to clarify for the record that item number 8 is listed on the agenda here, that it indicates that the environmental impact report is before you. It is actually not. What is before you is, as the recommendations indicate, you are just affirming and adopting that this has been done in accordance with CEQA, but the actual environmental impact report is not here today.
And when will the environmental impact report be here? Or is there one coming?
It's been done. It was done years ago.
Complete. So this is a typo.
This is just a typo. Yes.
So for the record, could you correct that?
Yes, we are right now working with the city attorney to correct the language.
So it will be corrected before it comes to
future
council.
agendas, yes.
Well, yeah, what's going to council? Okay. Thank you, Madam City Attorney.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, Barb Garrett with the Port of Los Angeles. It's a pleasure to be here today, Councilman.
Sure.
Before you is a lease with Rockefeller Philanthropic Advisors to be transferred to Alta Sea within the next 12 months. Alta Sea is a nonprofit being developed specifically for the redevelopment of City Dock Number 1. It's a 50-year lease covering 35.62 acres. There are 11 parcels that are phased in over a 30-year period. It is a unique arrangement that creates a partnership between the Port of Los Angeles and Alta Sea to redevelop the historic berths 56 through 71. That peninsula was built back 100 years ago with the opening of the first Panama Canal, and today we're repurposing it. Those warehouses are historic. The wharf has been deemed historic, and the entire district has been deemed historic. So we're redeveloping those. They cannot accommodate containerized cargo. So we are repurposing them for something that will generate new jobs and create a diversified economic base within the Port of Los Angeles. They'll be redeveloped into a marine research center, entrepreneurial businesses that spin off from that research, and educational facilities. In Phase 1, the Harbor Department will be required to develop and rehabilitate the wharf and the backland seismic upgrades at a cost of $57 million. But that will be leveraged with funding from Altasea from between $82 million and $111 million for refurbishing the warehouse and retrofitting it. The rent is reduced, and we include rent credits that actually result in Altasea not having to pay any rent for the 50-year term of the lease. So it's
just for the record,
neutral.
Altasea is not chicken of the sea, but what is it?
Altasea is a nonprofit that's being formed. The basis today is there's an advisory cabinet. Annenberg Foundation has been instrumental in the development of that. They have funded some of the research, so they are the founding partners. But that nonprofit is still in development. The protections in the lease require that Altasea raise 75% of the funding needed for their part before the Harbor Department embarks on any improvements. So we've put in protections to ensure that they're effective at what they do before we have any liabilities or commitments. In the interim, the Harbor Department is allowed to rent that property as it currently does today. It's underutilized due to its current degraded condition.
And but I believe, if I heard before, Dr. Natz was very involved with this. Is that correct?
Pardon?
Dr. Natz was very involved with this?
Yes. Geraldine Natz spearheaded this. Back in 2007, it was part of one of the initiatives that came out of the Harbor Department Centennial Celebration.
Right.
That entire area, ports of call, we did bridge to breakwater with all
Right.
of the walkway and the promenade. This is an extension of that. It was adopted back in 2009 as part of the redevelopment plan for San Pedro waterfront.
But it also has collaborative partners like UCLA and USC and Long Beach State and every university in Southern California, I think.
Yes, so
That's really important to mention.
the basis of this is to provide space for SCMI. They're currently in a small location. in the
SCMI
Harbor
is
Department.
not CIS, so I don't know what SCMI is.
11
What's
universities.
SCMI?
Southern California Marine Institute.
Okay.
It's a consortium of 11 universities, 8 of the California State
Okay.
System, UCLA, Occidental, and USC.
How about Loyola Marymount?
I don't believe Loyola Marymount is currently included.
My dad went to Loyola Marymount. He'd want me to do something. Right, Dad? You want me to do something for your old school? So add Loyola, get Loyola involved.
All right, and we
Okay.
also are coordinating with the community colleges
Absolutely.
and the other nonprofits that are
Absolutely.
within the
This
port.
sounds great. This is a collaborative partnership.
Yes.
So, are you a doctor, Moore, yet?
No, I'm just UCLA
Did
graduate.
you get a THD?
I'm just a Bachelor of Science.
Who's the most famous guy who got a THD?
I would have to defer.
Man, anybody know this room? Anybody know who got a THD?
Ralph Bunch?
Doctor of Thinkology, the Scarecrow and the Wizard of Oz. Come on, Gary, you're not gonna.
Just because you...
I got a THD. So, you know.
Councilman Labange, I would never challenge you in any trivia contest.
No, it's not trivia. It's not trivia. It's not trivia, man.
It's facts.
Understand? It's facts, man. Without the Wizard of Oz, we're not here. So this is good. Now, I'm happy with this. But I think the CEO has some questions, and I don't want to break any momentum because yesterday I got momentum broken in this building. So I want whatever questions they have, I want to note them, but then I'm going to push this forward to council and hope the CEO could be ready to ask the questions because this sounds like a very good thing, and there are protections. Nothing happens until a lot happens.
Bill Koenig, CAO's office. Yes, we will be preparing a report that will be submitted to council prior to its consideration of this item.
Good job, Bill. I appreciate that. So charge ahead. Thank you so much.
Happy holidays, sir.
Thank you very much, Gary. Thank you.
Thank you
Next.
for mentioning Loyola.
You betcha. Good job. All right, go. Good.
Wait, just for the record.
On the record, yes.
This will be in council on December 17th.
Very good. Super. Thank you. Good to see you. Okay, next item.
On to airports. Item 9 is a report, is a concession agreement with Delaware North Companies Travel Hospitality Services for the operation and management of food and beverage concession at LA, Ontario.
Good.
Andrea Mills, CAO office. Yes, this is a 2-year agreement for Delaware North Travel Companies to continue the concession services at LA, Ontario in Terminals 2 and 4. The department will earn approximately $700,000 in revenue, and the CAO supports this agreement.
Thank you, Madam CAO. So this is good. So this is a standard concession?
Correct. It's just the continuation of the food and beverage out at Ontario until we can run a competitive process.
And for the record, state your name just for the...
Sorry, Debbie Bowers, Deputy
Yeah.
Executive Director, Commercial.
Thank you, Debbie. Okay, recommend approval. Next item.
Under item 10, the Board of Airport Commissioners submits a proposed lease with Federal Express Corporation for its cargo facility at LA Ontario International Airport.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman. Bill Kreitz with the CAO's office. The CAO have reviewed this item. We recommend it for a couple of reasons. One, it allows FedEx to expand its air cargo operations at LA, Ontario, and to make them more efficient in the process. Also allows for $3.9 million worth of improvements made by FedEx to those facilities, and it allows LAWA to obtain approximately $5.7 million in gross rental revenues over the 5-year term, as well as $965,000 annually in terms of increased landing fees as a result of larger aircraft coming into that facility. So for that reason, we recommend approval.
Very good.
And the airport is very excited to recommend so that they can continue their cargo facility operations at Ontario.
Good. And for the record, you got to state your name. That's the only... Yeah.
Debbie Bowers.
Thank you, Debbie. Just had a question on this here. Where are we on Ontario? Just a general question. That issue of Ontario, LA. Just if I could have that.
I believe that the CAO's office is working with the airports on that.
Right.
Steve Martin, Chief Operating Officer, Los Angeles World Airports. Recently, there was action, I don't know if it's formally been taken, to try to stay the litigation that the City of Ontario had filed against the City of Los Angeles in regard to the joint powers agreement from the original transfer of the airport. I think the stay goes through January 31st so that the parties can discuss alternatives.
Very good. All right, thank you so much. Recommend approval. Thank you. I want to take item 14 up right now because I know that someone has another meeting.
Under item 14, we have motion by Mr. Labange and Mr. O'Farrell proposing that the Department of Transportation, the Friends of the LA River, and the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers be directed to report on the possibility of development of a duck tour using an approved amphibious vehicle to conduct tours of the LA River, its bridges, and its neighborhoods.
Good morning, Councilman. I'm Patty McJennett with Los Angeles Tourism and Convention Board.
Good morning.
Megan Whalen, Bureau of Engineering, LA River Project Office.
Great. So what do you think?
We think it's an interesting idea. We're not sure if it's completely feasible with the type of equipment that's out there, but we've reached out to several of the companies. Rubber Ducks that's mentioned in here that's operating in Long Beach we don't think is operating any longer, but one of the companies called Ride the Ducks is one of the more respected companies, and they're interested. They want to come and take a look at the river. We're working together, and we're going to have them down in January.
In Boston, they do this in Boston, you know.
Yeah, they operate in Boston as well.
Right.
So this particular company operates in about 7 cities. I think across the country there's now about 15 cities that have duck tours.
Have you ever been to Thunder Road?
No.
Yeah? 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 You ever been to Thunder Road?
No, Councilman. I haven't.
You have never been on the floor of the river?
Oh, well, Yes, that,
Okay, well, been near the 6th Street Bridge?
absolutely.
That's Thunder Road.
Okay.
That's where it all happened. Greece.
We're going to enlist you as part of the tour.
Yeah, make sure I'm there, okay? So let's recommend approval and go on, because this is a great opportunity to go from the Pueblo. Right up here, thousands of people come a day. They get off a bus, they walk off Air Street, they may see something. Your brother is the general manager up there, so you got to tell him this. The buses are there. There's also a potential for a bike rental facility at the Pueblo. We're trying to get tourists as a destination to go out just like Hollywood Highland is. So if there's a duck tour there, you could go over the historic 6th Street Bridge and the other bridges, and then with permission from the Corps, on a non-wet day, you ride into the river and get a vision. So I think it would be very fun for people to experience that.
No, it's an attraction.
Yeah.
That we really are, underutilizing.
Did you call Vahid Shapir?
Pardon?
Vahid Shapir?
Well, it depends on how the model. If they
But here's the thing, when they have the model,
franchise operators, it could be.
Starline has a connection now. That's where they got everybody goes through their computer, so that's how it's all done. A suggestion, look forward to seeing you in January, and we'll go out and see if we can make this happen. Okay?
Thank you.
We'll bring the Corps, right? You got to call the Corps? Yes. Got it. Okay. Have a nice day.
You too.
Thank you. Bye-bye. We'll talk to you later about the sports issues.
Got it.
Okay, 14's approved, so let's go back.
Excuse me, so under 14, you want to send the motion to council?
Yeah, I think we
report
just
out?
sent it to council, just to
Okay.
report it. It's already, they waived it out of the other committee? No. You want to go to the other committee then?
Oh, that's right, it has to go.
We just had it referred to our committee.
When's it scheduled to, all right, we'll figure it out.
Okay.
We'll check with the chairman.
Yes,
All
move
right.
it out of our committee, and then it will go to Arts, Parks, Health, Aging, and River Committee after.
I'll do that then, okay.
Under item 11, the Board of Airport Commissioners submits for approval the First Amendment to the contract with Schindler Elevator Corporation. And this is a contract for procurement, upgrades, and installation of elevators, escalators, and moving walkways at LAX. It would extend the term for approximately 19 months to allow for completion of the project to manufacture and install the new equipment.
Good morning. Intisar Durham, Los Angeles World Airports, and I want to state for the record, Councilman, that I am a graduate of LMU.
Good job, okay, good job.
This contract amendment is to extend the contract by about 19 months to Schindler. Schindler is one of the 3 vendors that provide elevators and escalators for us throughout LAX as we are upgrading this kind of equipment that is very old and outdated.
Right. Anything else to add, Mr. CAO? You're all right with this?
Bill Kreitz of the CAO's office. Mr. Councilman, we have reviewed this and we recommend approval as well, especially
Right.
the fact that it does not increase the original budget.
Very good. Good. So this is good. They're so important because we don't realize this. I just know this because I have a Park La Brea in my district. They got an elevator problem. There's like 23,000 elevators in the city. And as they get older, technology needs to be upgraded all the time, and you move a lot of people there. So as soon as we get this done, I think it's a good deal. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And on this one, you recommend approval?
Absolutely.
Under item 12, the Board of Airport Commissioners submits a concession agreement with J.C. DeCo Airport Incorporated in conjunction with airport sponsorships and Time Warner to serve as a terminal media operator at LAX for a term of 7 years with an option to renew for an additional 3 years. And this would provide guaranteed airport revenues of more than $180 million.
Bill Kreitz with the CAO's office. Yes, Mr. Councilman, we've reviewed this as well, and we recommend approval for a number of reasons. This terminal media operator contract would benefit, as the CALA recommended or suggested, to the tune of $21.5 million in development and operational facilities at LAX, including equipment for the sale of advertising and sponsorships at LAX. It would obtain guaranteed, LAWA would obtain guaranteed revenues exceeding $180 million over the 7-year original term of the agreement. They would obtain $50 million in revenue from forecast sales and proposed percentage of fees, and they would exceed their current advertising revenue by 30% during the first year of the agreement.
Debbie Bowers.
Hey, Debbie.
Los Angeles. In addition to what Bill just described, the TMO, the Terminal Media Operator, will also be responsible for the integrated environmental media system, which are all the icons in the New Bradley West, the Time Tower, and the storyboard, and all of those. So that will also take an additional expense off of LAWA.
Okay, now not to throw a curveball at this moment, but I was thinking of Joel Wax. You know what Joel's big thing was? 1% of the art. So 1% of 180 is like $1.8 million, right? So I'm thinking if there's $1.8 million set aside for not all the zoo, but other public things that we support, the observatory, the zoo, the Hollywood Bowl, something throughout the valley or whatever. And I think if is there a mayor's rep here? And the mayor's rep is not here, but it would be something I think we could ask in this, and I'd ask the CLA to have a motion to, does this say if we amend this, does it have to go back to your board when it comes to council?
Yeah, you
Good,
can.
good morning.
Hey.
Suzanne Tracy from the City Attorney's
Is it
Office.
going to be a good morning for this suggestion?
If your question is, can you take revenues from this
No,
contract?
I don't want to take revenue. I just want you're going to give the city, if I was in charge, I would say to you as the director of arts, you're going to promote some stuff. Talk to Jimmy over at the airport, and he's going to give you one banner, 5 times a year to promote Barnsdall Arts Center or something like this. So it's all consistent with the same graphics that you have in your advertising, but you allow us to promote Los Angeles throughout there, whether it is the waterfront of San Pedro, whether it is Alvera Street, whether it is any entity the city owns totally. So there's no revenue. We're not competing. I'm not asking to promote LA Live, but I promote Exposition Park, Griffith Park, Sepulveda Basin, things to, see the birds, go golfing, in the beautiful San Fernando Valley or something. This is what I'd like to ask the airport department to look at if there's a possibility. And let me ask you, are there people with this contract here, the DECO here?
Yes, they are.
Do you do this anywhere in the world?
We do this actually in many places.
No, where you do a little, like you promote the city freely. Right. Well, come up and introduce yourself for the record. Okay.
Good morning. I'm Bernard Parizeau. I'm the president and co-CEO of JC DECO North America.
Yes.
Thank you. So yes, we do promote cities where we have the airport. We do use unsold space and work with the local organizations like the Convention and Visitors Bureaus, and here we work with...
All right, is any of that in that contract, what you just stated?
It is in our proposal.
It is?
Yes.
It is. So this may cover it. So when does this go into effect?
Once we pass City Council, we will give them a notice to begin in the middle of January.
So like in March, you're fully running, right?
Yes.
So in April, I'll see a picture, come see the stars at the Griffith Observatory. Maybe.
Maybe, or
Okay.
some other, and we already do it. We are the current concessionaire at the airport.
But now who do you deal with in the city on that? Do you deal with the airport department or
No, we work directly with
LA Tourism Board?
Yeah.
For the record, LA Inc. went out of business. They changed their name because in London they got too many calls in the Los Angeles office calling for LA Inc., thinking it was a tattoo. True story. True story. So, okay, so we'll work to Los Angeles Tourism and be able to do that. So this is already done.
Yes, it is.
So good job, Mr. CAO. You made that happen. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Recommend approval. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And finally, item 13. This is the Board of Airport Commissioners submits amendments to 4 leases at Van Nuys Airport to allow for the transfer of 3 leases from McGuire Aviation Group and 1 lease from Signature Flight Support Corporation to separate entities owned by Signature Flight Support Corporation.
Steve Martin, Chief Operating Officer, Los Angeles World Airports. The 4 items before you are 4 lease amendments and assignments that would wind up taking 3 of properties that are currently under control of McGuire Aviation, taking that with an existing Signature flight support lease, combining them into one entity, and assigning the leases to different operating companies. What the result will be is an additional investment in Van Nuys Airport exceeding $15 million, a more stable revenue source for the airport, and sort of a stabilization of the overall development process at Van Nuys.
All right, City Attorney reviewed this?
Yes.
Got it. So we'll recommend approval forthwith on that.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Madam CAO?
CLA.
I know that. I made a mistake on 14. I thought Dr. Williams left. I saw him turn and move, but he's still here. So reconsider 14. You have a comment card on 14 and then public comment. Thank you. And for the record, everything else has been completed on the agenda, correct? So if you want to go on your way, and then for those who are visiting City Hall for the first time, go up to the Tom Bradley Tower. It's a beautiful view, and you can see the underbelly of the Vincent Thomas Bridge, and you can see United flying on time at 9:36 from Chicago at LAX. Thank you. Dr. Williams.
Dr. Tom Williams, LA 32 Neighborhood Council, also a Water Committee in Sierra Club. Regarding the duck, some of us really remember what a duck was. However, this particular thing is one of the issues that we brought up during the original concerns for the upper LA River, middle and upper. And we were quite concerned regarding future tours in the preserved areas. What we would like to have is the duck restricted to south of the 101 or south of Chavez forever.
How about south of the 110? Pasadena Freeway, there's no, it's all concrete.
Pasadena Freeway still has some natural...
Not north of it, not south of it. If you go to the Figueroa Street, let's go to Figueroa Street.
I spent, as part of the Metro Rio Red Line Phase 1, we spent 5 years monitoring the LA River from Pasadena Freeway down. And there is some use there. However, south of the Pasadena Freeway.
Yeah, well, I disagree. But anyway, continue your comment.
We're quite concerned about any encroachment into the more natural areas of the river, especially with mechanized vehicles. So we'd dearly love to have, exposure to the LA River, fine. South of the Pasadena Freeway, Main Street, whatever bridge you want to include, but not above the concrete channel. So
very good. So we agree on something, Doctor.
We agree
Pasadena Freeway.
We agree with that.
Thank you.
Okay. Now, since this is part of the Harbor Department.
Now we're going to public comment for Dr. Williams.
Public comment.
For the record, state your name.
Quite concerned regarding the Panama Canal and the entire efficiency of the Harbor Department and the berths. In Hong Kong, in the 1990s, Sealand Maersk were moving 1 million containers a year on one berth. If you look at the averages for the Port of LA, it's not quite that large. How did they do it? They did it by good management of a single berth. 1 million TEUs. Here in Los Angeles, Port of Los Angeles, they move 70,000, 100,000 maybe. Most berths in Hong Kong in the 1990s moved 300,000 containers on one berth. So why is it so inefficient in LA? Need to have a study. Why can't we get at least 300,000 containers moved on one berth? I don't know. Maybe it's because the way it's operated. Oh, by the way, Hong Kong has no railroad. It was all done by trucks, just like we're still doing most of it by trucks here in LA. But we do need to get the railroad into the port, because the ports on the East Coast and the Gulf Coast are incorporating rail, because it's faster to unload those ships and get the turnaround reduced from 2 to 3 weeks down to 5 days. And that's where the efficiency will provide us with a much more competitive position here in LA. Jobs, yeah, it'll be a lot of jobs. However, if it all goes to the Gulf and or the East Coast, where do the jobs go? They don't stay here. Thank you.
Public comment complete. This meeting's adjourned. Everybody have a good day. Thank you.
Yeah.
One for the road.
On the 17th, yeah.
The 17th, that's all 8 of them.
Oh, yeah, everything. I'm going to try to get everything because
Yeah, he's doing it.
the
He's
last
still in
day to
process.
act on most of these is the Wednesday. So I'm going to get all these on the Tuesday.
I'll make sure you get one. He always he's always runs way late.
Yeah, thank you.
Hi. Yeah, we will make sure you get one. So we've moved everything out. All good, except the port thing.
It's going to look
Because we didn't
like
have
the
report on this.
recommendation.
It's okay.
So,
Yeah, when Joe's back.
no,
I didn't know that they were both taking
the
off. but
recommendation was provided on the commission.
They didn't tell me. I told them way in advance I was having this meeting. So last meeting of the year, we want to move everything out.
Thanks, Bill.
Yeah, I'll send you.